1990s, this was changes in government, changes in representation, and education. In the 2000s, this was the 2008 stock market crash, the civil unions, the increase in civil unions, and the devastating Canterbury earthquake. The Canterbury earthquake particularly happened in 2011 and on February 22nd, 2011. It was a magnitude 6.3 earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand, and it caused 185 deaths, thousands of injuries, widespread damage, and it costed New Zealand 40 billion New Zealand dollars, and it prompted significant rebuilding efforts. Current day, this is COVID-19, New Zealand's response to it with the economic recovery package. During COVID-19, New Zealand had early border closures and lockdowns, which resulted in low case of numbers of deaths, which was initially under 2,000 cases and around 25 deaths by mid-2020. But it caused a lot of economic contraction, with the GDP falling to 12.2% in 2020. The political regime. New Zealand's parliamentary democracy operates under a constitutional monarchy with a House of Representatives elected primarily through the MMP, mixed member proportional system, and it has since 1996. This ensures diverse representation and a coalition government. The Governor General, representing the monarch, holds a largely ceremonial role, while executive power rests with the Prime Minister and the Cabinet as accountable to Parliament. New Zealand's elections, held every 3 years under the MMP, allow citizens aged 18 and over to vote for electorate representatives and party lists, ensuring proportional representation under the House of Representatives. Maori electorates provide dedicated representation, and voting is and to ensure that voting is accessible. New Zealand operates as a constitutional monarchy with the British monarch, currently King Charles III, as a ceremonial head of state, represented locally by the Governor General, who performs largely symbolic duties such as assenting to legislation and dissolving Parliament. Executive power is exercised by the Prime Minister and Cabinet, who are accountable to the elected House of Representatives, ensuring democratic governments within the framework of the unwritten Constitution and the Constitution Act of 1986. Political conflict. In New Zealand, political conflicts over Indigenous Maori rights have intensified, particularly with the 2023 right-wing government's push to reinterpret the Treaty of Waitangi, prompting widespread Maori protest against these policies, which were perceived to undermine the treaty-based partnership with the Crown. Economic policies in New Zealand, such as the neoliberal reforms in the 80s and the 2023 coalition government's tax cuts, and the reduction of Maori-specific programs, have sparked political conflict by pushing socio-economic disparities and fueling debates over equity for Maori and other groups. Immigration policies, especially the shift towards temporary work visas and increased Asian migration in the 90s and 2000s, have led to political tension with parties like New Zealand First, which advocates for restrictive measures, raising concerns among Maori about their lack of influence in over policy, despite the Treaty of Waitangi implications. And then I forgot to mention this during the historical development, but the current Prime Minister is Christopher Luxon. Society. New Zealand's cultural diversity reflects the Maori heritage, European settler roots, and growing Pacific Island and Asian communities, with the Maori, which is 17% of the population, driving cultural revitalization through language and traditions. Tensions arise from policies like the 2023 Treaty of Waitangi reinterpretation, sparking Maori protests over the partnership rights with the Crown. New Zealand's social welfare system provides universal health care, education, and income support like unemployment benefits and child tax credits. However, this has led to struggles with poverty, particularly among Maori and Pacific families. Political debates intensified by the 2023 government's cuts to Maori-specific programs highlight ongoing changes in the treaty. and lifestyle. New Zealand's lifestyle emphasizes outdoor activities like hiking and rugby, and is supported by its beautiful natural landscape. However, urban and rural divide influence its access. Economic pressures, especially following 2008 and following COVID-19, alongside housing affordability issues, challenge its idealized Kiwi work-life balance, especially for lower income groups. And then I have some statistics about the northern and southern islands. The northern island has 4 million people, and the southern island has like 1.2 million people, although those are just the two main islands. But New Zealand, like in its entirety, is made up of around 700 islands. And then here's my graph. It shows the ethnic composition and its percentages, with the greatest being European New Zealand, and following that the Maori, New Zealander, Pacific Islander, Asian, and then political economy. An economic advisor provides strategic guidance on fiscal, monetary, and policy matters to help governments or organizations make informed decisions. In New Zealand, economic advisors often play a key role in shaping policy to balance growth, inflation, employment, and sustainability goals. An open economy engages in substantial trade and financial interactions with other countries, allowing imports, exports, and capital flows. New Zealand's open economy depends heavily on global markets, particularly for its agricultural exports and foreign investments. Free market principles advocate minimal government intervention, emphasizing competition, private property, and consumer choice. New Zealand adopted many of these principles in the 80s reform, leading to a more efficient and globally competitive economy. Consistent growth in New Zealand is supported by its prudent fiscal policy, investment in innovation, and maintaining strong trade relationships. Infrastructure development, education, and sustainable resource management also contributed to long-term economic stability. Oh, and I have my table here. It shows the GDP from 2019 to 2023, inflation till 2023, and the unemployment rates until 2023. Foreign relations. Recent economic changes. In May 2025, New Zealand's government introduced a stringent budget with $1.3 billion in new operating spending amid global trade shocks and slowed economic growth. The government also relaxed immigration rules, leading to a surge in the golden visa applications, mostly from wealthy U.S. investors seeking residency through substantial financial investment.
8 minutes.
New Zealand is negotiating a free trade agreement with the Pacific Alliance, a Latin American bloc comprising of Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru. This aims to deepen economic ties and expand trade opportunities. New Zealand's primary trading partners are China, Australia, the United States, and Japan. These include dairy, wood, fish, meat, a lot of different things. This also strengthens its economic ties. It has also been strengthening its economic ties with Vietnam by signing the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership in early 2025, focusing on trade and investment. Current issues. In 2025, New Zealand faces ongoing challenges related to structural discrimination, especially affecting Maori and Pacific communities. This is supported by 50% of Maori students leaving school without any educational qualifications, compared to the 21% of the New Zealand population. This highlights disparities in the education system. The country's economy is grappling with slow growth, projected at 2.9% for the ending year for June 2026, down from a prior estimation of 3.3%. The cost of living is also a major concern. A recent Ipsos survey revealed that 26% of New Zealanders find it difficult to manage financially, with low-income households disproportionately affected. Nearly half, 47%, are worried about their job security, and 65% believe unemployment will rise in the next year, indicating widespread concerns about economic